Hey friends, welcome to my Netgalley review video. All these books are published in September. So I will, if you haven't been here before to see me do these reviews, what I do is I do like this short intro, then I will put up a slide of the book cover and all the details about it, publication, etc. Then I'll do a review, and then I will do the same for the subsequent books that I'm going to be talking about. So this month I have three books to chat to you about. I really enjoyed them all, but shall we get into them? So let's see what I'm going to be reviewing, will we? As you saw, the first book is A Quilt for Christmas by Melody Carson. This is being published on the 6th of September by Revell Publishing, so thank you to them, Netgalley and Melody, for the e-arc of this book. This is a novella and it was such a sweet read. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 because I just so enjoyed it. So we meet Vera, who has recently moved to this condominium complex to be nearer her family, but unfortunately something happens that her family have had to move away, so she's basically in this new town to her, no friends, and was looking forward to a family Christmas, but that's not going to happen, and she's not even thinking about decorating her own apartment for Christmas because it's just like she just doesn't want to bother because it's just not going to be the same. However, one day a young girl knocks on her door. Her name is Fiona, and her mum, they live in the apartment next door, and her mum is not well, and Fiona's sisters, or brother and sister, are at school. She's not school age yet, and her father works away from home, so she asks Vera to come and help. Vera takes one look at her mum and immediately gets her into hospital because she knows that something is not right. And she agrees to look after Fiona and to deal with her siblings when they come home from school, so that, you know, until their father can be contacted. So she takes Fiona back to her apartment and, you know, entertains her, and Fiona discovers that Vera is a quilter, and she sees this quilt on Vera's bed that Fiona just basically falls in love with. And she asks Vera to make her mother a quilt for Christmas. And Vera's sort of trying to explain to, I think Fiona's 4 or 5, and explain to her, look, it will take a long time to make this quilt. I can't make it on my own. So Fiona goes, well, you need friends to help you. And she's like, yes, but I don't have any. We will fix that. So with Fiona's help and Fiona's siblings, they make up a poster asking for people to come and help to make a quilt. And Fiona and Vera head off to the town to put these posters up. And as they're doing so, they meet 3 ladies. They meet Tasha, who is an artist and works in the flower shop, but she would love to learn to quilt, so that's friend number 1. Friend number 2 they meet is a lady called Beverly, who is so chatty and bubbly and full of life, and she is an empty nester, so that's friend number 2. They then meet Eleanor, who is a retired therapist. Now this lady is pretty gruff and you know, just she doesn't have a lot going for her as a character. So that's friend number 3. And they meet one day at Vera's to talk about the pattern, etc. And Eleanor turns around and says, well, to stop us having to, you know, put things away, bring things out, you can use a room at my house. And they agree to this slightly nervously. And the first time they go there, you know, Eleanor's very standoffish, very abrupt, I thought we're here to learn to quilt, not chat, blah, blah, blah. And she really is a very black and white character in many ways. But her son is living in the basement, and her son meets Tasha. And they develop a friendship. But all the while, like, Fiona's dad has come back to sort of be with them until his wife gets out of the hospital, and then when she comes back, he still has to go out to work, so Vera is sort of also still helping out with Fiona and her siblings, etc. And the family have just moved to the area. They don't have a lot of furniture, and various things happen that everybody brings each other together for Christmas. It was a beautiful, beautiful story, well written. I love Fiona as a character. She was just so fun. She was a gorgeous wee girl. Vera is really well portrayed. There's, she wants to help, and she's missing her own family. And then you've got Tasha, who, although she's an artist, doesn't know what kind of art she wants to do. Beverly is, again, kind of lost without her family, and she and Vera are a really lovely combination as a friendship. And Tasha just brings another spark to that. Eleanor, you learn her backstory, you understand why she is the way she is. But by the end of the story, it just all comes together. It was so beautifully written, and it just made my heart warm. It really did. It's one of these books that you could have your Christmas tree up and just sit there for an afternoon and read this book, because it was just so beautiful. So I really hope that if you're looking for a nice Christmas read this Christmas, I think you should pick this story up. The next book is Dewey, Decimated by Allison, Brooke. This was published by Crooked Lane Books on the 6th of September. This is the next book in a series. And in many ways, I think it's possibly better if you do read this series in order. And don't just jump into it, but you could do. There's some references to things that have happened in the past, but excuse me. I think, yes, you could probably try and read it as a standalone, but I'm glad I've read the one beforehand, to just get me going with this character, the sort of the long-term plot line. So Carrie is the busy librarian, and she is in the town of Clover Ridge, Connecticut, and she, along with her other librarians, are planning and developing programs for the new extension that is happening to the library. The library bought the building next door, and there's going to be that building is going to be renovated, and there's going to be an opening from the existing library into the new extension. She has also been added onto the town council, and is basically learning the ropes there as to how the town council works, what they need to be talking about, etc. So she's also got a fiance, so she's a very busy lady. There is a body discovered within the basement of the new build, or the building that is going to be the new extension, sorry. And the ghost of said body appears in the library, and he is creating havoc because he doesn't know where he is, why he's there, can't remember a thing, and he doesn't know how to control his ghostly powers. Basically, he will sweep past patrons and books will go haywire, and they just get cold and they get freaked. So Carrie enlists the help of the resident ghost Evelyn to try and babysit this new ghost, while she and Evelyn try and work out who he is, why he's there, and what happened to him. The town council are also having to debate what should happen to the Seabrook Preserve, which is a beautiful piece of land out on the town outskirts. And there are various people wanting different things for that piece of land, whether it be a condominium or a beautiful park, or if they want to leave it as the wildlife preserve that it is. There is a vote taken, but 24 hours after the vote is taken, one of the council members is found dead. So Carrie is drawn into this murder to try and solve it, and to try and work out, is this murder connected to the murder with the the body in the basement of what will be the new library extension. As she delves deeper in, she finds herself in not danger, but things are just not coming out right, and she's not really wanting to get involved, but is pulled into it by somebody else. I enjoyed it. It was a good cozy mystery. A few loose ends tied up from and from the previous book, and it was a really well plotted out, well paced. I really like Carrie as a character. I think she's a great character. Evelyn is a fun ghost. She really is. She is so spot on. And, I liked the way that she was trying to babysit the new ghost and everything. It was really, really good. There are various things that the ghost is part of her fiance's family story, etc. So it was really, really interesting. A really good cozy mystery. I gave this one 4 out of 5. I would, definitely give it, if you like cozy mysteries set in libraries with ghosts, I think you're onto a winner with this one. So if you read it, please let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts. And the final book is Christmas Eve Cowboy, which is an anthology published by Kensington Books on the 27th of September. I think I gave this one 4 out of 5. I really, really enjoyed it. So the first book was Once There Was a Lawman by Diana Palmer. Now, we meet Thomas, who's an FBI agent, and he's in this small town to help solve the case of a young lady who was left to freeze and die in a cabin, and he's staying in the local sort of motel, and he parks his car in what he thinks is a motel car park, but it actually happens to be the drive of the house next to the motel, which is owned by a nurse called Annalisa. Now, she comes and bangs on his door and says, "Move your car," and they sort of strike up a friendship. And Thomas was didn't seem to be a majorly Christmas orientated man. Annalisa loves Christmas, and the more they spend time together, because the way her shifts work out, his shifts work out, they actually tend to end up sort of eating together, and she knows a lot of the people in the town, so she is able to help him talk about the various people within the town, and especially the people who are related to or have contact with the young lady that was left to freeze to death. And I really liked that. I really liked the fact that the two of them, worked together and complemented each other in many ways, and she sort of helped him enjoy the build up to Christmas, and she got a lot from having him around. He helped her with various things within her house, etc., and took her on to various places or outings that really built up her enjoyment of the festive season. I really don't want to say a lot about this because as it is a mystery, and I think the more vague I am the better, but I did really enjoy it, and it was my first Diana Palmer book, and it will not be my last because I really liked the way she wrote and her characters. So the second book is Christmas Creek Cowboy by Dolores Fawson. The local sheriff of Christmas Creek, Callan Jameson, is not into Christmas. He's too busy commiserating with his best friend Emmy, who runs the local bookstore, about their cheating exes. And it's like, he's not exactly bah humbug, but he's not like woohoo Christmas either. Emmy has bought what was Callan's father's house, and she is up in the attic one day and she discovers a bag of letters. Callan's father was the postmaster. And she brings this to him, and he then goes back up and discovers more bags of letters. And this starts a whole to-do in the town, because various people realise that letters from a couple of years ago, or X number of years ago, have not been delivered, and they now want them back for various reasons. And, you know, Callan is being badgered by people. I want my letter, and he's like, I can't give it to you. It's the you know, the property of the American Postal Service. And there's a big annual Christmas ball coming up in the town, a fundraiser, and people are still bugging him, and they want him to bring the letters to the fundraiser, etc. And Amy has a letter in one of those bags, but she had found it beforehand because it happened to be in the top of the bag. And she gives it to Callan and says, yeah, I think you should read this. And he does, and it sort of makes him realise, well, maybe we want more from our friendship than we thought we did. And it's just a very, very sweet romance. It was really nicely done. I loved the fact that the folk got up to go, can I have a letter, can I have a letter? And it's just like, it was really nicely done, and I really liked it. I thought, you know, I've never read Dolores Fawson. I've heard, you know, great things about her books and the way she writes, and I just really adored it. I thought it was a great premise for a book, and I just really, really enjoyed it. Fun characters, and just, you know, a really good Christmas read. The third book in the anthology is Coming Home for Christmas by Kate Pearce. This is probably my favourite one, I think, of all three stories. We meet Lucy, who is running her grandmother's B&B, and she doesn't have any bookings at the moment because there's a big snowstorm happening. And during the snowstorm, there's a knock on her door, and she opens it, and it's a friend of hers from school, Caleb. Now, she had a crush on Caleb when she was at school, and he comes and he spends the night in the B&B because he can't get home. His car is broken down. He can't get out to his father's ranch, which is what he was planning to do. So he ends up spending the night with, you know, in her B&B, and they get chatting. And she still has feelings for him, and he sort of begins to see her in a different light, but he also realises that she's very proud of running her grand's B&B and doesn't really want people feeling sorry for her. Yes, so she doesn't want people feeling sorry for herself, and, you know, she wants to run it on her own. Caleb, his father is probably not in the best of health and is probably needing more help out on the farm, and their relationship is pretty strained, but something happens at the B&B that Lucy ends up going with Caleb to his father's ranch and spends time with them and helps Caleb talk to his father and try to repair their relationship. And I really liked that. I thought it was really good. In return, he sort of helps her in some ways without her knowing. But can they actually be together as a couple? Is Caleb prepared to kind of move back to small town, or does he want to stay where he is in, you know, running his own business, etc.? And he's under pressure about that because various things are happening within his company. And he's just not too sure, does he want to give all that up, or does he want all the stress and strain? to come and help his father on the ranch. I really enjoyed it. I really liked sort of the interplay between all the characters. I thought Lucy and Caleb were a great dynamic. The friendship possibly blossoming on to something else. It was a really lovely book to read because you just didn't know which way it was going to go, but you're rooting for them both to get what they really wanted. So yes, again, never read any Katie Pearce, and I will definitely be looking out for this author again. You know, it was just such a really, really good read, and another one that you could have, the whole book you could just spend, a day at Christmas time just snuggled up and just reading about different people and the way that their Christmases come together, which I thought was really, really nice. So that's the end of my Netgalley reviews. I hope you've enjoyed this video, friends. Please let me know down in the comments, are you planning to read any of these books? I would really, really like to know. Or have you read any? Again, I would love to know what you thought of them. But until my next video, friends, stay safe and happy reading. Bye!